Tranquilo, hombres. Por favor. Calm down.
Alrighty, we're back.
Nice to see you again, mate.
Good to see you.
Audio only.
Audio only. Yeah, we just say that real quick. This is episode 14, but this is kind of the new season. So we had a lot of feedback that some people want to watch us, or some people want like videos and other people want audio. So we're going to do the podcast, which will be the 4 sections: Room 101, Slang Wars, Q&A, and the news will be audio only. Nothing, no visuals, nothing at all, because it was kind of a waste of time. And then by this stage you will have seen that we're putting out, like Snacks Unknown is now kind of a video, and we do other type of videos as well. So we're trying to give the best of both worlds.
So here's to our new sort of condensed version of the audio podcast. So
exactly.
Room 101, should we get straight in?
We might as well.
It's my Room 101 this time, and I think this Room 101 might be a bit dated, and other people might disagree, or it might have been discussed before, but my Room 101, I'm putting into Room 101 developments in television. And I don't mean television, I mean television sets.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I'm surprised that we've done 13 now. I'm surprised you haven't said this before, because I've heard you on about this before.
I forget sometimes the things that annoy me, but generally these days I don't get that annoyed, or I tend to avoid things quite well that annoy me, so they kind of leave my sphere of thinking. But this is a good one. So I'll try and explain. I remember the last TV set I really liked was a Sony Trinitron. Do you remember those?
Yeah. Well,
Did you have a Sony Trinitron?
I remember the name, but was that like a flat screen one, or was it like a big one? Like
No. You needed like a good 3 foot.
But it wasn't wood; it was plastic, right?
Yeah, it was plastic.
I think I had.
It wasn't wood.
No, but remember my first few televisions had timber like on the outside.
Well, I'm from Chester.
Oh yeah. No, I don't care. Even you're from Chester, it doesn't matter. You would have instead of having pitch pine, you would have had mahogany or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It would have been well varnished, whatever. Yeah. But no, it was plastic.
Just to jump on, me and my brother had a TV up in our room for playing our Spectrum. We didn't even have like a proper computer. We had a Spectrum.
Rubber keys.
No, it had a tape deck to load the games and stuff, but it was all built in. It was a pretty cool thing for its time, right? But our TV had the wooden like outside, but it used to go blurry every once in a while, and you literally had to hit the side of it. But there was a knack to hitting it as well. But
to be fair, I remember once I won a TV at the village tombola. I did. Honestly, I picked a ticket out. It was a TV. I was so chuffed. But it was
but back then it was a big deal. TVs cost a fortune.
Yeah, but
back
wait
then.
Wait till you hear what TV it was. I think all the prizes were like donated by people.
Oh, okay.
So this TV was like an old black and white TV, and to change the channel, they had cylindrical buttons coming out, like big nipples. And you had to like, and you could only change it by pushing another one in. And it didn't have a channel 4, so you couldn't. It only had 3 buttons.
But my grandfather had a TV. Like, he used to have the TV in the corner. He used to put a blanket or something over it, and it was only put on for the news, and then it was turned back.
You put a blanket over it.
I don't know what. I think he wanted to keep dust off it or something.
Anyway, so but like I said, I really miss the days of Sony Trinitrons. They did have a big old back on them. They had a big old arse on them, and it still had fast text.
Yeah,
I could still play Bamboozle on CFAX.
Teletext, wasn't it?
Yeah. Remember that?
CFAX, yeah.
And the only reason I hate new TVs, now when they came out, everyone was like, oh, this is amazing, flat screens. I don't know, is plasma screen the same?
It's just different technology. I don't think plasma is the thing anymore. It costs too much because there was a lot of...
Well, I'm going to go through all the...
Yeah.
So they had So yeah, then these flat screen TVs came out, and everyone was like, "This is amazing! You know, you can hang them on your wall. They take up no space in your living room." To me, it was never a problem. My Sony Trinitron, it wasn't like I was thinking, "Oh my god, I've got nowhere to put my shoes because I've got a Sony Trinitron." It didn't bother me. But the reason I hate, the first thing I hate about these new TVs is the sound. The sound.
Yeah. Well, just in their defence,
Well, you're defending them. I haven't even told you what the problem is.
Yeah, but the sound is shit.
I don't think the sound's shit. I just don't like the way it's... when you had a Sony Trinitron, everything... You know, you put the volume on 33 and you were done.
Yeah.
Now, with these new TVs, I find that if you're watching a movie, when people are talking, it sounds like they're just whispering, how you doing?
So then you turn it up.
Then exactly. Then you turn it up, okay, it's a bit quiet, or you're more like, knock it up a bit. You turn it up, and then there's an explosion,
and you blow your fucking
or
eardrums.
a car crash, or the music starts, and it's like, what the hell? And then you have to turn it down again. Obviously, more often than not, someone in a movie will start to speak again, and then it's like, what are you doing here? And I have to turn it up, so I turn it up, and then bang, someone crashes through a window. And it's all in your ears again. Now, I think you may be able to... You probably know more than me, but I think it was because they were supposed to be used with, like, surround sound.
Yeah, well, like, I think, to be honest with you, they shouldn't... Because the old TVs had loads of space, they could put in whatever kind of speakers they wanted. Whereas the flat ones, they're limited on space. So then they were... And they're also, like, cheaper and blah, 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 kind of. So they're using shittier speakers. They don't have the same amount of space. And yes, they were probably... made with the thought in mind that you should use
you're going to have a whole surround sound system.
Yeah, but then in my eyes they should have like not bothered putting speakers in it at all, like, because totally. I agree with you on that.
Now let me tell you, I was drawn in. I was definitely drawn in because when you first watch one of them flat screen TVs, the picture was great. In those first flat screen TVs, the picture was way better than a Sony Trinitron, like, and I could think, yeah, this is definitely better for watching a movie. Yeah, you know. And then an explosion happened, and I was like, what the hell? The first one we ever had, I remember because we thought this, it was my mum's, and she bought like some surround sound speakers, so we had some behind the sofa, some over there. I mean, they were also an eyesore because they were all over your room. But I remember, I still remember the first time we were watching the movie and a helicopter came over. My mum ducked. She didn't know what was going on. She nearly dived off the sofa. It was hilarious.
And like, in fairness as well, like, that's grand if you're watching a movie. But like, you don't need like
EastEnders.
Ian Beale from EastEnders like sneaking up behind you. It's not necessary. True. Like, or watching the news with like the news anchors behind you. Like, you don't need.
Yeah, imagine if you're like, you know, I could hear Grant Mitchell, and Grant Mitchell was in me left ear and Phil Mitchell was in me right ear. It was amazing. Exactly. It was the best episode ever. Yeah. So the sound. To be honest, that is. I don't know. I don't know if that is the most annoying thing, but they're equally annoying. The point. The second one is the new ones now, high definition TVs. I can't get on board with them.
4K and all.
I can't get on board with them, mate. And now I've never had a high definition TV ever. Even the TV I've got over here, I never turn it on.
Yeah.
For various reasons, not because it annoys me, but
just it's probably more than likely because he doesn't know how to turn it on.
Yeah, I've lost the remote control. But then these high definition TVs came out, and my brother loves his high definition TV, you know. And I was watching. Let's take EastEnders again as an example. I was watching EastEnders, and it's so clear. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like it's and that, okay. Now I can take, because I think there's something weird about British and American TV. When you watch like an American sitcom, it's a little fuzzy. I was reading some comments on some internet the other day, and they use some different frame
rates.
Now I accept
as a whole, but it's I think in Europe they use 25 frames per second. In America, it's 29.99 for a reason. I won't go into. But it's only 5 frames a second. It shouldn't make that much of a difference.
Honestly, that didn't bother me because I could tell, even without the sound and not seeing any of the programs before, just watching back in the day, I can tell you. I could have told you if it's an American show or a TV show instantly, just by looking at the British shows seem a bit sharper. But to be honest, I was fine with that because that had been going on for ages. Now, where high definition really gets my goat is when you're watching a movie. When you watch a movie in high definition, and my brother's like, "What are you talking about? It's so clear now." And I'm like, "It doesn't look like the same movie I remembered. Like if you watch Goonies and the Goonies, and it looks like you're looking at the Goonies through a window. That's what it looked like. It was like
with the eyesight you had when you were 7 years old.
It was like they were in the living room and they were just a pane of glass in front of them. It was weird to me. It made the Goonies look like an episode of EastEnders because it was too sharp.
I know what you're saying.
And I didn't enjoy it as much. I felt like the kind of softer thing, that was a movie for me. It kind of added to the escapism, and it's not real. Now, I was in Taiwan maybe a couple of years ago before COVID, and we were watching some movie on my friend's high definition TV, and I started whinging about the quality, going, it's too good, and Joe was like, we're going, what do you mean it's too good? Like, and I said, I don't understand how you don't know what I mean. Like, that's not the movie we watched when we were younger. Luckily, Joe's big brother was also visiting, who's also a sound guy called Jimmy, and he just said, I know exactly what you mean. And suddenly I had an ally in the fight against high definition, because everyone I've ever spoken to is like, what are you talking about? Like, it's like I'm going insane. I'm like, am I going insane? Can nobody else see that this sharp picture is ruining the movie? It's actually ruining the movie. Luckily, Jimmy was like, totally agree with you. It's absolutely dreadful. And even Joe, to me, and his brother was like, you're all talking rubbish. Like, he had no idea. Now, I'll give one good thing is, I complained to my brother in England. I complained so much about the movies, and he was also like, I don't know what you're saying. What do you want me to? It's fine. It's the clearest picture that's ever been involved. And I'm like, oh, at some point I was like, just turn it off, man. I can't watch it. And then all of a sudden he said, hang on a minute. And he got the remote control and he brought something up on the screen. And one thing said movie mode. It said movie mode. And I said, oh my God, click that. And he clicked it and it immediately went back
to normal.
To soft movie mode. And I was like, yes. The thing is, my brother said, I can't see the bloody difference. He couldn't even see the difference. And I'm like, no, this is how a movie should be watched, in my opinion. What do you think? I know you're more technologically minded than me. I was thinking maybe you'd have appreciated the...
I reckon anything else that you would have brought up about technology, I would have been put in an argument. But I'm 100% on board with what you're saying.
Do you find it... Can you actually watch a movie when it's like that? Because
no, because I think 9 times out of 10 I'm watching a movie on my phone or an iPad or on a computer screen or something nowadays. It's rare that I've turned on the big television now. But 4K, now they're going into like 6K and 8K and all this shit.
You're joking,
right?
it's going to get better.
It's getting,
worse,
technically, right? But I watched a YouTuber the other day that does all the stuff, like, and it is high definition. It looks fake to me.
Yeah.
When something looks better than what it actually looks like in reality, what's the point to that? Like, it's like, I actually watched him and I kind of went, oh, is he like after superimposing himself onto a cartoon or onto a different reality or something? Because it doesn't look, it just does not feel. If you were looking at him, it doesn't look that way. It just looks that way on the screen. I don't know what's happening or whatever else. The other thing that I wanted to just jump back onto as well, I think the feckers making the TVs before, they made a fuck ton of money off us by basically, like, you'd go to the shop, and in the shop they'd have this one like high definition thing of a water droplet dropping, and you'd be like, oh my God, that looks amazing. But at that time, the BBC wasn't broadcasting it in 4K or whatever else, so when you got it home it just looked like a standard TV.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah. But then all of a sudden, like, Blu-rays came in, and then they started broadcasting in higher definition and things like that. So now it's worth it. But like, there was a period of time, and I'm saying it was a good period, it was like a good 10 years where the shit you were basically buying something, you were buying a Ferrari when you could only drive like 30 kilometers an hour. It was that kind of thing. Now it's different for sure. Things are being broadcasted in higher definition. But to be honest with you, I'd rather go back to the way it was, because I think it's shit.
I will say, let's say for example you're watching like the Blue Planet or an Attenborough documentary. I could probably watch that.
That one I can get on board with. I agree with that. Any of the nature ones, especially when when it's been filmed on purpose to show you
How good.
those details,
Yeah.
when they zoom into an ant or and it's crystal clear, because it's kind of taking you into a world that you don't really see anyway, right? This I agree with. I think for that it is awesome.
I think the only real problem I have is a movie in high definition. To me it's awful. I can barely watch
even
a movie. It makes a movie
But even
look like an episode of EastEnders.
But even sports, I think, in high definition is shit, to be honest with you, because I've been to football games or rugby matches or whatever. It doesn't look that way. I've been on a field. It's not that like real neon-y green coloured grass. It's like it just doesn't look that way.
You're right. It's better than your own eyes, and that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, but that doesn't even make sense. And why would you want something that's better than what you can actually see anyway in reality? I think if it can show what reality is, like we said, I for the zoomed in stuff, I think it's awesome. Like when they're zooming in on skin and stuff, and you can like see every little ripple and whatever. I think that's pretty cool. But I don't want to watch EastEnders in high definition.
I certainly don't want to watch The Goonies in high definition.
No.
Well, this might be a stupid question. What K are our eyes?
What?
What K? If a TV is 4K.
All right, I have no idea, mate. To be honest.
That's a daft question, isn't it? Is it?
No, I don't think. I'm not sure. No, because I guess we can see it, but we don't see it. I don't like it. Like basically, even you know when you get a new phone or something, and like every year they're getting better cameras and stuff, and then you take a video, and you're like, wow, that video is amazing. But then when you look around the room, you kind of go, but this place doesn't look that good.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember I asked Finn to send me a picture because I wanted to like cut his head off and put it onto Gordon Ramsay's body or something one time. But the picture he sent me, you had like the beauty thing turned on. You didn't know that you had it turned on or something.
I thought I looked amazing.
And you did, of course you did. But I was like, you don't look like that. But I knew in my heart, like, Finn's not after photoshopping this or putting a filter on it. So now the cameras are putting filters on it automatically unless you turn them off.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
So, like, you have this perception of you're taking a picture of yourself and you're like, oh my God, I'm actually don't look that bad. And then you go to the mirror and you go,
I look awful.
what the fuck?
Well, my family were telling me that. I've sent a couple of photos thinking, well, I don't look, I'm 42, but I'm still rocking it. I'm still rocking it. Then Felix, my brother, sent me a message going, turn the beauty filters off, you pussy. And then I was like, oh my God. And I checked my camera and I was like, yeah. And then I turned the beauty filter off and looked at myself and I was like, oh, there he is. There he is.
There's the Finn I know.
Yeah. All right, so are we going to do that?
Yeah, definitely.
It's not even a question.
But there's one other point as well that I was going to argue the fact that I think it's cool that they're flat now and that they take up less space, but I have yet to be in somebody's house that still doesn't have a TV stand where the TV would have been. Yeah. You have one here, I'm looking at it, I have one at home, blah blah blah.
Because you need that. You need something under the telly.
You need it to throw. Okay, before you needed to throw the VHSs or the DVDs or whatever in. Yeah. No, you have that. You're so used to having that space near the telly, you use it anyway. So it's kind of a bit mundane. Like it's not The only thing I will say, moving one of the old tellies was a bit.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a disaster. Like the new Xiaomi telly is only 2 kilos. You can lift it with one hand. So that I will give them credit for. Right. But like 4K can go.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. All right, into Room 101. Like I said, I'm just glad that, I guess most TVs have a movie mode. I'm glad that still exists. I'm glad someone in the company thought, not everyone might like this. We might have to put a mode on it where you can turn it back. And thank God for that guy. I bet he was nearly shouted down in the boardroom. They were like, get out, go and get the tea. Yeah. And he was like, no, this is serious.
Exactly.
I'm glad.
And just to let you know, my videos or our videos will be shot in nothing more than 720p. So go suck a dick.
Brilliant. All right, they're in Room 101. That's done.
Q&A. So this week is my Q&A, seeing as nobody has given us a question in a long time again.
I've just realised that I haven't thought too hard about the... Oh, no, it's fine. Go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically this week's topic is jobs. So I have 3 questions for Finn. The first one is, what was your first real job? So I'm not talking about like if you were, you know, when you were a kid, you might like wash car for your dad and get a fiver or whatever, like, but like a proper job.
Like employed by somebody else.
Employed by somebody else. No, it could have been a summer job or something, but something that you know, wasn't related to like your parents giving you money or an uncle giving you, like, it was a proper job kind of like.
Yeah, when I was thinking back about it, I've had quite a lot of, you know, little jobs. I always consider myself quite lazy, but I was working from quite young, basically. I don't know if you, but well, I don't know how far back to go. I mean, my first job being paid by somebody else was a paper round.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like, yeah.
That was my first job, but I might mention something else as well because that wasn't really a job. I'm probably maybe incriminating myself a bit here, but we used to have
oh Jesus,
we used to have a paper called the buy sell. I don't know if
the buy and sell. Yeah,
you got one. You have it now. It was just full of advertisements.
Cars, and it was like a classifieds thing, like. Wasn't it?
Yeah. It was just a free magazine where you advertised if you wanted to buy or sell something. I guess and
it was mainly cars and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, ours was anything. Yeah, anything. And like my brother and his mates always used to look in the buy. You know, they always wanted to try. They always wanted to sell stuff. Normally, it was for people who wanted. They would be like, "I've got a wardrobe, blah blah blah." But my brother and his mates were always looking to sell everything they had. That's all they ever wanted to do. But so yeah, it was a free magazine. So obviously, you weren't getting paid a lot. But me and my mate, I used to go around and stay at his house. He lived over the road from me. I was only about. It was before high school. I must have been about 10 or something like that, maybe 10. And I used to go and stay at his house the night before. Sometimes they'd have leaflets. Okay. And if they had leaflets, you got like £1.50 extra.
All right.
But I had to go around his house and we had to fill. I think we had to deliver. I can't remember, but it was a lot, mate. We had to deliver like 250 papers. It was a lot, and it was free. So I think we got I think they gave us £5 between us.
Jesus. That's
all we got. Now, if there was a leaflet, that was actually a good day because it'd be another £2.50. So we'd actually end up with like £3.75 or whatever. And but so I had to go around to his house and I had to we had to put the leaflets in all the buy sells, which took ages. And then it was a lot heavier by the time you've got all those leaflets in. And then we'd go out the next morning. It was always a Saturday morning. And when we'd to go around, we had one big housing estate to deliver everywhere to. And then this was where the slightly, not criminal, but we were...
He was slipping a bit of heroin into the...
No, but I'm saying we had this big housing estate to deliver to. And then when we finished that, there was like another 50 or 70 where we had to go like across to the other side of the village and do like another housing estate. I'm not proud of this, but sometimes that last lot we just put in the bin. Even at 10, I was skanking the system. And then this was how ridiculously low the pay was. I would go and spend my entire wages. I remember what I used to buy: a pint of milk and a Boost. And then that was it. I might as well have stayed in bed and just got my mum to buy me a Boost. There was probably milk at home.
Pint of milk is a bit random. The Boost I can understand.
I don't know why we always used to buy that, but that's what we used to buy. But
it's a good combo, though, I will say.
Yeah, but I remember there was a couple of houses in the first estate where I used to call it it was like the Hound of Hell or some kind of demon in a house. I'd never seen a dog, but we knew. I remember it was a red door. And my mate was always doing one side and I was doing the other side. We used to swap sides because one side had this door. And it didn't matter how quietly you walked up the drive. You had to put it in someone's letterbox, you know. And we'd put it in the letterbox and you'd literally hear this. And then the door would slam and the paper, it doesn't matter how quickly you were, the paper would be just ripped out your hand.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, I don't know what was in that house. I have no idea. Obviously it was a dog, but it wasn't like any normal dog you've ever seen. This was, I always dreaded walking up that drive that for some reason it would have been left out or it wouldn't be locked up or something because it was a menace, mate. It would rip that paper out your hand, no matter how quietly you just try to, you suddenly had to, oh my God, and then it would go. So that's the first proper job I had. I had a couple more, but what about you?
I had a paper round as well, but that I don't really classify that because it used to take me 20 minutes to do because there was a housing estate across the road from us, and the shopkeeper it was like 7 or 8 papers. He used to give me 5p a paper or something, and I think I used to get 50 pence. But my first like,
You used to have a delivery round of 8 papers.
yeah, I think it was like 10. I used to be praying to be more and everything, but
I
it
was
like,
doing 250 on a
yeah,
Saturday
it
morning.
was like I used to get 50 pence or something like that. But it was all right to to get a bit of candy or whatever. Like, but the first proper one that I got where it was like real money was I was a labourer for a builder, a small commercial builder. It was the toughest thing I've ever done.
How old were you then?
It was a summer job, so I think it was either 16 or 17. But I remember after 2 days, like every bone in my body, every muscle, and I was 16 or 17. I was fairly fit back then. Was just aching. I was like, we were redoing a roof on a shop in town, and I was working with the carpenter who was doing the slates. But I used to have to bring like the slates up from. It was only 3 floors high, but I had to climb up scaffolding with them. Like it was scary as well, but it was so physically tough. But then at the end of the first week, he gave me £100. It was Ireland still had pounds at the time.
That's pretty good.
£100, man, and £100 to a 17-year-old might as well be £1,000 to a 17, or like at that, especially at that time. And I think I might have told you this before. One of my first girlfriends, I bought her and her friends a Magnum.
Oh, you've told
a
me
Magnum
this.
ice cream. Like they were like, even then they were like £1 or something, right?
High roller.
Oh my god, man! I was like, I reckon like I could have done anything. You know, it was just.
She was like, "Have you met Jason down the road? Just giving out magnums left, right, and centre." Right,
I got a It was a. So that was my first job.
Well, let me tell. I mean, the first proper job I had when I was about, I think I must have been, I would have been 16 because I just started sixth form college, and I used to wash dishes in there was a. I know you're gonna laugh at me when I say this. In a wine bar.
Of course, it was a wine.
But remember, at this point, I wasn't based in Chester. I was based in Tarpley, which is actually, if anything, is even more posh. It's actually even more posh in a village called Tarpley, which is about 10 miles away. That's where I grew up. Really.
Digging the hole deeper.
I knew as soon as I started this story, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to say I worked in a wine bar. But all I was doing was washing dishes.
Wine glasses.
Yeah. I was watching wine glasses, and I remember they used to. I never knew what these were, but ramekin dishes. You know what they are?
Yeah.
Like little bowls with like.
What did they put like?
Caviar.
I was gonna say cashew nuts because that's the poshest thing I could think of.
No, there wasn't. That's the poshest thing you could think of.
Yeah, well, they're fancy peanuts. Like they just have that little bit of an extension on them.
Bloody cashew nuts over here. So and it was. It's not. I mean, like I used to work on a Monday night with just me and this other bird called Imogen. It's dead sound because it was.
I thought that was a fake name.
I know everything I'm going to say is going to just re-incriminate me to being posh, but I wonder if she still remembers because me and her were like a little team on Monday night. There were never that many people in on a Monday night, so they just need one washer upper, and she did the waitressing. But she was dead. I mean, I haven't spoken to her for ages, but actually she sent me a message the other day, dead early. They were with all their mates, and she sent me a message at like 7 a.m, going, "Oh, you're in China, blah blah blah." Now she's married one of my other mates, but So I had that, and then I worked with another mate on a Friday night, and basically everyone who was working in the kitchen, all the waiters were my mates. One of them's still my best mate now, Susie, and her sister, and people from our school, and it was me and my other best mate washing up. It was one of the best jobs I've ever had. Okay, I'm not joking. It was brilliant. Even though we were like, because we were only 16, so we were washing up, and it wasn't the most glamorous of jobs, but everyone was dead sound, we were all just having fun. And then at the end, again, I'm probably going to incriminate myself here as well, but at the end, they would let us, we just stayed and drank with the customers after the end. So that was why it was so good, because it was 16, but we were treated like adults. But even though we were washing up, you can imagine what it's like in a posh wine bar in Tarpley. Like, they're all posh, but everyone just got slosh drunk.
Yeah, and I wouldn't imagine there was too much washing up to do, like a bit of lipstick on a wine glass.
There was actually quite a lot of washing, especially at the end. But anyway, you finished it and you got done, and then by that time it was like midnight or 12:30, and then we could just stay there and drink, and it was just like, when you're 16, that was the best thing in the world. We were just like hanging out with like 45, 50. I mean, it's weird, like 50-year-old adults just hammered drunk, but also all dead rich and dead posh. And they were also buying you drinks, and it was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant couple of years. I actually loved that job, even though I was just washing up. But so yeah, that's probably the other first job I had, to be honest.
Would that the second question, would that cover the second question though? What was so the second question basically was, what was your favourite job?
Oh yeah, I forgot that. Yeah.
Would that have been it, or was there a better one?
It's hard because I tell you, I love my job now.
Okay.
I love my job now.
Maybe just say what you do, because they probably.
Well, I mean, these days I'm teaching English in China at a university, and I haven't had many better jobs than that. But it's different. This job I love because of the work. I like doing the work. It depended on the context of the situation. When I was 16, that was definitely compared to any other job.
No, like
I've had,
if you look back now and like had to. If all the other jobs were going to be wiped out of your memory, but you can just keep one, let's say, put it that way.
Oh, that's
what
hard.
was the best one that you'd like to keep in your memory bank?
That's a hard question. I suppose. I guess nostalgically, maybe that job in the wine bar, because it wasn't just me going to work. It was like every one of my best mates was also working at the same place, and we were just having just a massive crack. You know what I mean? The tips were all divided between you. I used to get about 25 quid a night. That's it.
Not bad at all, though.
And I got, so it was like 50 quid a week.
How old were you?
16.
That's a lot of money for when you're 16.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Even my mates who didn't work there, because we were in the kitchen, they knew how to go around the back and come in the back door of the kitchen, so they'd be there, you know, and they'd be chatting with you, and just. I remember that time as being awesome. I loved it. You know what I mean? My other mate, who was a bit older than us, but he was going out with my mate's sister. He lived in the apartment above the wine bar, so the whole thing was just like our little domain. You know what I mean? And for 2 years, it was brilliant. I mean, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, well that's that one. What's your best job?
I think the difference between me is every time I have a job, I like it at the start, then I end up hating it after a while. But out of everything, I think back to my first like real job. When I say like my first part of my career life, which was 12 years as an electrician, basically, and not just I wasn't an electrician like going around wiring houses. I worked for a big company that used to do factories and things like that, mainly pharmaceutical factories. But now that I look back at it, it was great because there was 500 people working for this company, and you were like going from job to job, but each job was always like it was always going to be about a year. You know what I mean? So like in one way it was great because you knew there would be 70 electricians on the job, so you knew you were with this crew for a year at least. But then if it wasn't good, you knew it was only a year as well. So you know you'd be going somewhere else. But it was very hard work, but the money was unreal as well.
Where was this? Was this in Ireland?
All over the world. I did it in Ireland, England, America, China. That's what brought me to China originally. But
yeah, I bet that was awesome.
It was amazing because you always ended up. Each job was always divided into sections as well. So it kind of got clannish. Like we're from, I did an airport once, and we did like the utility building and the car park, and the other guys were doing the terminal, and then the terminal would run into trouble, and we'd have to go down and help him fix it. It was almost a tribal thing that you had a foreman that was like, he was almost like your sergeant in the army and stuff.
Yeah.
But what I loved about it was you used to clock in and clock out, and while you're there for between 8 hours to 12 hours, depends on if you had to do overtime or whatever. But that's it. You could go home and not think about it and just come in the next day. I've done jobs then afterwards when I went into management and construction management and project management and stuff, where you basically have to take everything home with you because you cannot switch off because you're always thinking about problems. Yeah. But that one was like, okay, the money wasn't as good as when you're a project manager, but it's better in the sense that you're doing between 40 and 60 hours a week, and when you're away from it, it's your time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing in life, that you have that work-life balance, and you can't have. I personally can't have it when you're a project manager because you're, especially nowadays, you have your emails on your phones and stuff like that. So even though you could try to be disciplined and like turn it off and not answer emails, you're not going to do that. You're going to do that. So like, and it was great. And like, it's the apprenticeship part, I will say, just for the record, was hell. But I do think that's a good thing in a way, because I think that shapes you into being a good, like, I think an apprenticeship is almost like trying to get rid of the dead wood. Yeah. If you can't make it through that 4 years, that means you're not ever going to be a good electrician.
You probably shouldn't be doing it.
Exactly, or anything. It doesn't have to be electrician. Yeah. But if you can get through that 4 years of being treated like absolute garbage, right, then you know you're going to be a good spark. Like, because you've put in the dedication and you put in the work.
Well, so I can definitely understand what you're saying about. I think it's almost like you have to be very lucky to be doing a job where you make a lot of money and you don't have to bring it home with you. You know what I mean?
I will say, I don't know what it's like in the UK, but in Ireland, even for an apprentice, like especially if you're working for one of the bigger companies, because it's kind of union driven. Even an apprentice electrician working for the likes of my old company, Shore Engineering, shout out, great company, love them. Even as a first year apprentice, you're making like €300 a week, like, because you get this, especially if you're working outside your city, you get this lodge rate. You basically get it used to be €180 without even having to do it. Obviously you have to turn up, but then you got your wages on top of it. So like, and then the second year it kind of went up 25%, and then by the end of it, like in your third and fourth year, you're making $500-600, and then by the time you're an electrician, it can be anything between €800 to $1,400 a week.
The money's not that bad anyway.
The money is amazing. Like, okay, like, don't get me wrong, it's a very tough, grueling job, but like I said, the beauty about it is you hit that button at 6 o'clock to clock out, and it's over. You get in your car, you go home to the pub, you go for football or whatever else. It's over. Do you know what I mean? It's fantastic. I would encourage anybody to do an apprenticeship, even if you only do it for a few years. It's something you can always jump back and do, you know, down the road again. If you don't want to go down the university road or whatever else, an apprenticeship back in the West anyway. There's no such thing here really, but it's definitely worth doing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I kind of wish I had some. I mean, I have no practical skills whatsoever, you know what I mean? Like when I told you I was trying to explain, I still don't know what to call it.
The trip switch board.
The trip switch thingy. And you were like, I don't think it's called that, mate, but yeah, you know. All right.
Yeah, and then the final one is basically what would be your dream job?
Yeah,
so if you could do anything at all.
I reckon I went through a few phases of dream jobs. I remember definitely for a period I thought being a footballer would be amazing.
Wow, okay.
I did think that. And I mean, I'm obviously not good enough. And I'm not like I'm not like a fanatical football fan as such, you know, but I do love playing it. When you play football, I don't know, there's not many things better than like having a good game of football, you know, where you're playing all right and you're on a good team. It's great. And I even used to have dreams of like I was playing for Everton, even though I'm not like a massive fan, but I'd wake up, and I used to be an adult. I was an adult too, not young. Like this was just like a few years ago. I'd wake up thinking, you're such a child. Why are you dreaming of playing for Everton? You're 35 years old.
Yeah.
But so that would have been good. And then I definitely went through a period where I thought being a DJ would be.
Okay. Yeah, you love music and stuff.
Being a DJ would have been one of them. But I just think it's not even that hard. Like my brother had decks when he was a kid, and I taught myself how to mix and beat match within a few days. Yeah, it's really not that hard. And imagine that for a life, getting like $2,000 to do a couple of hours work.
If you're good, that is.
And then just partying the night away. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you know, I love house music, so that would have been an amazing job. Or even just. Like one of my a friend before had one of the programs on the computer where he was making his own house music. Even that is really fascinating.
Yeah.
To actually make your own tunes as well. So I would have liked that. But I guess these days I often think about to do with movies, writing movies, even directing movies. I don't have any background in it whatsoever, but I love watching sort of behind the scenes documentaries of how directors do things. And how it all comes together. I mean, it looks so hard. Like, I don't think I realised how much work is involved in it. But I think I think it would be amazing if I could write a movie script would be good, but also to actually direct and make your own movie. I can't imagine these days. I can't imagine feeling any more sense of achievement than doing that. I think that'd be amazing.
Yeah,
I think that'd be brilliant. You know, what about you?
Well, obviously, like, I'd really like to kind of go down this avenue of like the whole editing and doing videos and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're good at that.
But I think that's kind of I wouldn't call that a dream job in the sense that it's possible to actually do that in a way. I think, to be honest with you, where my heart, this is going to sound really weird, right? But where my heart really, I love fixing shit, to be honest with you.
I know you do.
But I think this life, I don't think there's a position for a person fixing stuff anymore because the whole world has just gone into let's throw it away and get a new one. But I like, to be honest with you, sometimes when I go to like a scrapyard or a second-hand place, I'm like, I'd love this. Yeah. I just love like trying to save an old television or an old radio or an old something from going into the landfill, basically. And I think if I was to be honest and say where I would be at most, like where I would be just in my element, would be just like people bring me stuff and go, look, if you can fix this, I'll give you this much money. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a go.
Well, I did that. You already fixed my speaker.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the best thing
It
ever.
only took me 6 months, but it only took me 6 months because I forgot about it.
That doesn't matter because I honestly, as soon as that happened, what I would have done is exactly what you said.
No, but no, I remember when you said, oh, will you have a look at it? And I was like, yeah, with pleasure. And then I took it apart and I knew because I have some tools, but they're way in another place. I was like, all I had to do was get them. I knew what was wrong with it. And you were like, sure, I'll just buy another one. I was like, no, please don't.
I just wanted to have some tunes while I was cooking.
And then eventually, no, but it's just that, like...
But it saved me 600 RMB because you fixed it, so I don't mind waiting a bit.
And it's also, it saves the world. Like, that would have just ended up in the landfill otherwise. Like,
yeah,
it's
true.
Just,
yeah, you're right.
I know in China it's a bit better, like, guys would have probably stripped it down and used, the plastic and the wood and the cables and whatever, but, like, it still
would have been thrown out.
It's just something, and especially, like, even, anything, like, cars, whatever, like, just... I just love tinkering with stuff and opening it up and like
I can appreciate your love for that. I don't have it at all.
Yeah, no, yeah, you have to have the interest. Like, it's the same. I even love going to there's a secondhand place that sells all anything you can think of here. I love going there. My wife hates it because she's like, why would you want to buy this shit? But when I'm going through it, I'm like going, that like a lot of these places you can like buy like an air conditioner or a TV or something that like the new price is like 10,000. You say you can buy it off them for like 500, and it just needs a bit of cleaning and a bit of attention, and it's working again. So in my eyes, I'm like going, I can have this top of the range like stereo system. I just need to put a bit of work into it. Yeah, I'm in. Like, you know what I mean?
I kind of wish I did have that love because it's that's like a really productive love to have, I think.
I guess so. Like, but yeah.
All right. Well, we better wrap this up, haven't we, mate? All right, good questions. It was nice to go down memory lane. I haven't thought about the demon from hell on my paper round for some time, mate. To be honest with you. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Shall I introduce Jason? You're about to. It's current affairs. Weekly delve into important news.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes not so important, but yeah.
This one is...
We have discussed this one, but we feel that this is so important that it has to go on. Basically, of course, it's from Panda Guides. We would not basically be able to do this section without Panda Guides.
PG for life.
But this one, for a change, is just... it's a feel-good one in my eyes. I think it's a feel-good one. People might disagree with me on this, but... Yeah. So basically, the headline reads a bit... It's basically secret delivery busted after neighbour frightened by cat sounds.
I love the headline because it gives no inclination as to what's going to happen.
No, exactly. But it's so innocent and I think it's wholesome in a way because I know how like Chinese people operate in a way, in a kind of a way. But so basically, what happened was a gentleman ordered a gaming console, like an Xbox or something like that, online, but he asked the delivery driver not to deliver it during the day because he didn't want his wife to know that he purchased it, I guess, right? Because he'd probably get in a bit of trouble. So what happened was he asked the delivery driver to like flash his lights outside the window or outside the door or something when he came so that she wouldn't wake up or whatever, right? But obviously the chap had fallen asleep or, didn't see the light flashing or whatever. So the delivery driver started meowing instead, right? and basically he's caught on CCTV, but his neighbour called a security guard because,
there was some guy meowing in the hallway.
Exactly, right? But I love this whole... That like two perfect strangers. I'm assuming they're perfect strangers.
Let me just get this straight, right? There was a guy who wanted a games console.
He ordered it.
He ordered a games console, but he called the delivery driver and said, "Please only deliver it after dark because I don't want my wife to know I'm getting a games console."
Yeah.
When you get here, what did he say?
Flash your lights in the window or something. Or I think he said flash your lights.
So I guess he must be on the ground floor, maybe.
Probably, and maybe he can see the compound, and if he flashed his bike lights or something, he would have known he was coming or something. But
however, when the delivery driver arrived,
he flashed his lights,
and there was no answer.
No answer or no.
So in his wisdom, he thought,
instead of like giving up and just ringing the doorbell, he just started meowing.
Giving up the gig, he was like, I don't want to drop this guy in it. So what can I do to get his attention without knocking on the door and alerting his wife?
Exactly.
And he decided to meow.
No, I know we're already bigging up delivery drivers, but like I think this delivery driver deserves a god tier level of delivery driver.
Does it say what happened? So he started to meow, and then a neighbor heard it and was like, "There's a guy meowing outside."
Yeah, but also like.
So what did she do? She called the police.
No, there's security. The YMI or whatever you call them. But I just think it's so like the delivery, like, because to be honest with you, I have a love-hate relationship with delivery drivers because when they are in a rush, they can be quite arrogant, and they'll just like the other night I came back from the pub and they were after leaving like 4 boxes or 2 boxes of nappies outside the door, and they hadn't even called or anything like that. But like I think this guy, because he could have easily just went, to hell with this, I'm going to ring the doorbell.
Yeah, because it's not part of his job description.
Exactly. Like, so he already did the flashing light things, and he's like, look, we had a deal. He could have easily reneged on the deal and just rang the doorbell going, look, I was outside for 20 minutes flashing the bell. But he, in his infinite wisdom, just went, no, I'll give it another go, and meow like a cat.
He was kind of like bros before hoes. Yeah. I better just meow. That's amazing that was his first thought.
I think it's so wholesome because I'm assuming they don't know each other from Adam, right? And it's like he's willing to like, I understand his plight. My missus wouldn't like if I got an Xbox either. I'll meow. It's like,
but I don't know what would you, I mean. Let's say you were gonna do. Let's say you were the delivery driver. Now you might not have been as nice as this delivery driver. You might be, I'm ringing the doorbell. Forget this guy.
No,
to be honest, he was an idiot for not being awake. That guy.
Yeah, like
if it was so important.
But that's my point. Is the delivery driver was 100% within his. If he had flashed his lights like he was asked to do, and there was no reply, I think he is totally within his rights to either leave the package outside the door or ring the doorbell.
Yeah, because that's his livelihood, and he's got
exactly.
He's on the clock.
He probably like pushed this one to his last delivery because he knew he had to do it at night, and he was probably heading home, right? But like he could have, like, if he had rang the doorbell and your man got angry with him, I would have definitely defended the delivery driver. But like he just decided, no, I'll still try to get it.
Bro code.
I love it. I just think.
Let me ask another question.
It's beautiful. I think this is. Sometimes you watch the news or you read news articles and you go, this whole world is full of scumbags and blah blah blah. Yeah. This just proves it's not. Yeah. Because to be honest with you, for every scumbag story, there's probably 100 of these stories. But they just don't get like put on the newspaper. Yeah. This guy is a legend in my eyes.
Like I said, I think we should explain, these delivery drivers, they really are working to a clock.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't know what was going on.
They're running red lights just to save 15 milliseconds and everything, like, so.
Yeah.
Like for him to even just, but I just
feel like I can't let this dude down.
Now, seemingly there's footage of it. I didn't see the footage, but I might try and look for it. But it was just the fact that somebody is willing to meow like a cat outside the door to kind of like.
I wonder if the security hadn't called. Would he have gone through like a whole pantheon of animal noises? Like by the end,
with the pebble at the window.
Like he's like, well, I'll go to dog next, and then if it got really really bad, at the end he'd be like, I mean, I was doing an orangutan by the end. Let me ask a question. You read the article more than me, but what happened? Did he get busted?
It doesn't really say. There's no real conclusion to it, because I guess he did, right? Because all it says is the security came and there was a big hoo-ha. So I assume she was walking up.
That's one of my favourite words, hoo-ha.
There was a few. I think there wasn't many comments, but there was one like, it just shows that he has a terrible relationship. This is rubbish, right? He doesn't have the fact that he's willing to hide it from his wife shows that they actually probably have a fairly decent relationship. Because I will just say, no, I'm married for...
Really? Is that what you think? Because I kind of think the other way.
No, 100%. Because, look, I'm with my wife 20 odd years, but we're married 10 years, but we're together 20 years. The only reason that has survived is on white lies and a little bit of deception here and there from both parties, I'm fairly sure, because it's inevitable that when you get two humans together, regardless their sex or whatever else, they're going to have some disagreements about things, and sometimes you do have, like I still think I'm the same person that I was before I married her, but I'm sure I've like shaped myself into a different person to kind of keep her happy, and vice versa as well. I'm not saying this is a one-way street. Chinese ladies are very driven by, doing the best for their kids and like getting in a lot of money so that they can do the best for their kids and stuff, and that's awesome. But that doesn't mean that the man shouldn't have like an Xbox or something like that. I'm not saying that, but I understand why he did it. I'm sure if she found the Xbox in the house, she's not going to like divorce him. It's not like a deal breaker in the marriage or anything. It's not like he has a hooker there.
So what you're saying, it's kind of like it's just kind of like a respectful amount of deceit. It's like, because if she really didn't want him playing games and he was just like, F you, I'm getting an Xbox. Maybe that's less healthy than just going, okay, I know she won't like it, so I'll just get the delivery guy.
Okay, this is a massive assumption, but I'm assuming that it's the money spent and maybe the time wasted, right? That she's thinking about, because females think that way. They have, in a way, they have like the better brain than the men. Men are just simple. They just want to watch football and like play games and stuff. So in his wisdom, it's like, basically, I want this anyway, and I'm going to get it. But instead of making a massive argument about it, I'll just get it in secret. I'll put it in my little office or whatever else. She might find out about it, but like it's too late by the time she finds out. I don't think it's an evil deception. It's not like he's sneaking a hooker in the back door or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just it's keeping the balance, because like I've done it with my wife. Like sometimes I know she doesn't like things that I do, and I kind of like, okay, she doesn't like it, so I'm just gonna, I'm not saying do it behind her back, and she's done it to me as well, and I think that's part of a healthy relationship. It's kind of funny as well when you find out, if you have the good relationship, when you do find out, you tricked me.
But like, you did that.
Yeah, you did that. And you're just like, fair play to you, went to that. I think it shows that you're willing to go to a bit of effort to maintain to
keep your partner happy.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Okay, well, maybe you've changed my mind a little bit. Like, I'm not married, so I'll definitely defer to you on marriage advice.
No, I'm not saying that you go out and you
no, I understand.
Do a load of drugs and do a load of hookers and then lie about that. That's not what I'm just talking about.
Small things.
Look, what harm is a little computer doing? But if it's such a big deal to her and he's willing to hide it, I think it's showing from his side. He's showing that
a little bit of respect.
Yeah, he's like, okay, I respect that she doesn't like it. He could have been an arsehole and just went, oh, I want it, I'm getting it. Yeah. He could have done that, and then that would have turned into a massive argument. No, I'm sure she'd find it and just go, oh man, I told you not to get it.
She'll definitely find it now.
But I bet you she's kind of going, You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's like a naughty child kind of.
Maybe you're right. I guess like in any relationship, you just I guess maybe you have like a sort of tacit agreement of like don't ask, don't tell kind of thing. It's like
I think
whatever. I know you like that. I just don't want to know about it because it annoys me. And he's just like, okay, I won't let you know about it. I'll just ask the guy to flash his headlights and then go to sleep. What an idiot!
No, but like in fairness, like I'm happy he did it in the sense because now we have this story to talk about. But I can also see this story going down a different path where he would have started like fighting the delivery driver because he had told him that he. Yeah. But the fact that it worked out in the way it did. Is
imagine if he just started slapping and going, "I never ordered a games console. How dare you!" That poor delivery driver. But yeah. At the end, when all's said and done, that's a fun story.
I do think it is a fun story.
I hope she saw the funny side.
I bet she did. Because she'd be like, "Why didn't you just tell me instead of causing?" Because I think all men are basically children at heart as well. Like I do approach a lot of my life in a kind of a childish, selfish way. Where you're like, oh, I know that's going to piss my wife off, so I'm going to work around it. Whereas 9 times out of 10, if you go and go, look, I have to do this, blah, 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 she's like, okay, whatever. Like, but in your head, it's like, it's almost, I think men in a way look at their wives at some stage almost like their mother. Not in a weird way.
It's funny you should say that.
But you know what I mean? It's like, I think especially... obviously not at the start of the relationship where you're in that honeymoon period and it's just about, whatever. But like when you're 20 years in, the female then, because you have kids and stuff like that, she does become that mother figure again, even though she's still your wife and whatever. It kind of brings you back to your mum. So you start behaving like a naughty child again. Yeah. To like, and I mean,
can I get away with it?
Can I hide a lollipop under my bed, or can I use a torch to read a book or whatever? I think of it kind of that way rather than being deceptive and trying to hide something really serious.
Well, it's funny you should say that because obviously I've never been married, so I'll always defer to you talking about marriage things. But I think I was thinking when you were saying it, the closest thing probably I know is the relationship I had with my mum when I was a bit younger. Not now so much, but when I was younger, it was almost like, I know my mum doesn't like this, what I'm doing, and she knows what I'm doing. She knows what I'm doing.
Of course they do.
And I know she knows what I'm doing, but she's just like, I just want a sort of a veneer of respect. Like I don't want to know. You don't have to put it in my face. And I understood that. And that was unsaid. That was unspoken.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll keep it all out of your eyesight. She's like, that's all I want.
No, exactly.
In a way.
In fairness, most of the time, not all the time, of course, ladies do have a more sensible head, and they do have kind of a, I don't know how to say it. It's like when it comes to relationships, they're normally the ones that are kind of holding shit together. And of course, the man is like, nowadays everybody's working, so you can't say the breadwinner, but men before were like the breadwinners, and it was a different kind of a balance. But I think nowadays it's different because most women are working now as well, and even if they're not, it doesn't matter. But
the women are running the household.
But I think ladies in general just have a more, they kind of look at the bigger picture, whereas men kind of focus on like one thing at a time. And women are known as like multitaskers and stuff like that. So like it's basically, he's just trying to get his little way.
He's trying to get one over on her.
Yeah, no, I don't. Not even that.
But not in a bad way.
He's trying to get what he wants, but not upset her.
Yeah,
and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And then there's the other, which is, so there's two beautiful things in this story. The fact that there was another chap that was kind of understood.
Yeah.
And like went, oh, I get it, man, I get it, no problem. So that just shows to me that men are on the same wavelength, women are on a different wavelength. Of course, we all need to work together and blah, blah, blah. But I just think it was a beautiful symmetry of...
I bet you, if that delivery driver had spoken to his missus and said, what do you think? She'd be like, don't you bloody do that.
Yeah, exactly. Don't you dare flash the lights.
You know what I mean? And she didn't even know the other bird. She was like, if you do that, we are finished. But anyway, yeah, like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a nice story.
It's a very nothing story, really. I'm sure it happens a million times a day, but I just thought that the fact that Panda Guys put out a feel good, I think this is a feel good story because there's no harm caused to anybody, right?
Well, I mean, and maybe to wrap up, I would like to see like a going back to. I want to see if they're still together or if everything you're saying is true.
Of course they are. Because
or what happened after? What happened to the delivery driver? He probably he goes out for drinks now with that dude probably.
Yeah, I well, definitely if a delivery driver did it for me, he would instantly become my best friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, good story, mate.
Yeah,
good story. Again, classic feel-good story. No.
So that was it, episode 14. Just a reminder again, this will be 100% audio. We'll probably try to make it available on iTunes or something like that, because one of the complaints I got was that on YouTube you can't turn off your screen. So some people wanted to listen to it while they were exercising or on their just through headphones and stuff. So we will look for a source like Spotify or something or iTunes just to put the audio ones on. And then if you like a bit of video, head on over to YouTube or Bilibili or
even Weibo, maybe Weibo soon.
We're going to start the Weibo soon as well. So.
Okay, always a pleasure, Jason. Always a pleasure, mate. And
I like these new Sunday afternoon podcasts. It's very chill.
We've got a new schedule, haven't we?
It's still bright.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Thanks again.
Awesome. Bye-bye.